Alright everyone, I'm back again. Off schedule. Didn't think you would see me until tomorrow, according to what I said before. But no, coming back with another impromptu video because sitting around here, I have a couple hours to kill before I have to go back to work. And I'm a bit tired, but more importantly, and more regrettably, I'm bored! So I thought, why don't I be a little bit productive and make a quick little video talking about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is music. As I mentioned before, my About Myself video that like one person watched, I'm a drummer. I've loved music all my life, particularly heavier and harder the better, and what you see in my videos is essentially an encapsulation of what my training process has always been like. And what I mean by that is, ever since I started training, back when I was about a teenager or so, training in my mom and dad's basement with a crappy little CD player and all my various assortment of metal music that I had. I was just by myself in my basement, blasting my music, having a grand old time, pumping weights, doing sort of cookie cutter full body exercise program with barbells and dumbbells. But essentially, a lot of it's quite similar to what I do now. I blast the tunes hard to fuel my intensity, fuel my workouts, fuel my drive and my aggression and my intensity into the exercises, and just having fun, singing along, head banging in between sets, sometimes during, and just having a grand old time. That's how I've always been, and that's how I plan to always continue to do it. And I think that there really is something to that method of training. Now, I know some people can attest that you don't need music to lift. Maybe relying on it too much is a bit of a downside or something like that, but I don't know. I would have to disagree. I don't know, maybe you're a particular trainer who trains without music. I don't know, maybe you're a Buddhist monk or something training in a temple and you just have a total Zen focus, but that's neither here nor there. You do you. But in my personal opinion, I believe wholeheartedly, with a burning passion and intensity, that training with music is super enjoyable and also super beneficial and rewarding. And there's even been studies that have come out recently in, I don't know, the past few years or something like that, that I've read and looked into, and I'm sure many other people have as well. Can name the exact title of the study off the top of my head, or the exact percentiles of whatever is attained therein. But essentially the conclusion of it is that people who trained while listening to music had a more efficacious workout than opposed to people who did not. There was a marked improvement in performance from listening to music while doing their training. And I think that that's totally accurate. You could say my particular experience is anecdotal, but I think many people would agree on that assessment as well. I do legitimately believe that listening to music that, not just any music, but music that does something to you, that drives you, gets the blood pumping, gets the mind going, activates something within you, within yourself, to push that little bit extra harder and to channel very in-tune emotions, sometimes deep within yourself. Particular songs can do that, and you can channel that into your lifts. For example, the video that I made yesterday, the 140 kilo deadlift by 12 video that I made, I didn't really have a plan on what particular song that I was going to use, but everything was going wrong with the setting up of the camera. I could not get the damn thing to work. Just kept falling all over the place, and every time I tried to set the music on, the camera would blot out, and it was just going back and forth, and I wasted so much time and energy trying to get it set up. So I was incredibly frustrated, incredibly angry that this was sabotaging my set and it wasn't going well. So I went and chose a song that I hadn't played in a while, but was time tested and true to get me going, especially channeling that rage necessary to just really go balls to the wall with the lifts, particularly with deadlifts in question. And that was Effing Hostile by Pantera. Is that good, YouTube? Effing, not the actual title of the word. I know how the algorithm goes nowadays with particular words and stuff like that you don't like anymore. So I will censor myself in there. Is that okay? All right. But using that video was a perfect example of that. My energy levels were meh. Have been kind of for the past few days, as that hasn't been going particularly too well as I want it to be, but that's, again, neither here nor there. But using that trap gave me that little bit of extra oomph to get through that set and to perform half decently. It wasn't a rep PR like I thought it was, as I said in the description if anyone reads it. I checked back, and apparently I did the same one recently, but oh well, it was okay. 12 reps, I'll take it. I think I could have grounded out to at least 15 if I really wanted to, but I didn't want to overtax myself. So, it's okay. It's okay. But, let me recollect myself. Essentially, what I'm trying to get at here is that you should try and pick music that gets into your soul, that really moves you, gets the heart pumping, gets everything moving. And I don't care what style of music it is, every person's different. Metal is always my go-to for that, and I would be one that I strongly recommend. But also, deeper into this whole point, I think that there's something to be said about choosing music, especially that you have grown up listening to in your younger years. I know I'm one like many such people who have grown up and have been a metalhead my entire life. Growing up, and you kind of start with a bit more of the, I guess now what you would say, the more mainstream run-of-the-mill kind of metal bands and stuff like that. That's what I kind of started in and listened to a lot as a kid. Slipknot, System of a Down, Korn, etc. and stuff like that. I think if you want something that is really effective and is guaranteed to get you going and to get good results, choose music that you have enjoyed from the past, even if it's not even music that you don't necessarily listen to much anymore. Because for example, I kind of grew out of Korn and Slipknot and stuff like that very early on. Well, not early on, but like in my late teens, early 20s or so, I kind of went on to other things and stuff like that. That was kind of stuff that was, it's great for around when you're younger in that age and you have that rebellious youth phase, so to speak. But I find that if you choose those kind of songs, because it's like channeling back into a more youthful period of your life. You kind of superimpose yourself subconsciously into how your kind of mindset back when you were that kind of age, when you're really young and virulent and super enthusiastic, so to say, for lack of a better word, and just really boisterous and jumpy, and it kind of takes you back to that kind of period when you listen to those songs. And that's what I do a lot of times. If I feel I'm not quite sure what to do, I don't know how to get quite in the mood or something like that, I flick on music that I used to listen to back when I was in my teens and stuff like that, and God's honest truth, it works, definitely. So I would definitely recommend, if you're having trouble picking music to try and get into the mood and stuff like that, start with music that you enjoyed in your youth. Because the thing is that you know those songs inside and out. You have a deep personal emotional connection with them. You know where the breakdowns are and all that kind of stuff. It's much easier to plan out exactly where to best capitalize on those songs to explode and basically crush your set, right? And I've had this talk with a bunch of friends of mine and other fellow Iron Warriors in this particular topic, and what I essentially said as a summation of this in regards to that was that it's kind of almost like a ritual, you know. Think of it as kind of like a tribalistic ritual, you know. You're going back into yourself and harnessing those emotions and that raw youthful intensity that you had, and then transferring it into that moment in time with the music. And it's so much easier to do, I find, when listening to older music that you are well acquainted with. So that's my advice to you for doing that. Start with those kind of things, or you have those kind of things as to be good sort of back burner, tried and true tested music to go and live for. Because for me, when I do it personally, it transports me back to, like what I said before, when I was in my youth, of being back in that basement when I was a young kid, just rocking out and having a good time. And since I have my own home gym, I can essentially keep doing that, but putting on that music, it really accentuates that effect. And I think that is super endlessly helpful in getting that extra drive in your lifts. If you want to, so I would suggest, whenever you have free listening time, or like you're going on a walk or whatever, and you're listening to music or whatever, try and listen to new things, new particular music, and that you think can be useful in applying to your lifts. Saying like, oh, that's a good breakdown, or oh, that's a really good instrumental section, or something like that you can feel the adrenaline pumping when you listen to it. Or also, what I do, for example, when I'm wanting to listen to new stuff, I listen to new stuff when I'm doing my warm-ups and my warm-up sets. But when I get into my working sets, a lot of time what I'll do is I'll default to music that I know is going to get me going. Music that I know is going to get my heart pumping, going to get my mind locked in and ready to just go nuts, go crazy, to explode, to have that anger and that intensity. So I think at some point I'll make an additional supplementary video on this topic, just recommending some particular tracks and albums and stuff like that you can use yourself to fuel your workouts. And feel free to also suggest ones as well for me, for other people, because I want to build a community. I want to be involved in this community to just essentially improve ourselves and have fun while doing it. And that's about it for now. Catch you tomorrow.